How's it going, Internet? This is Christoph from Techware Labs, and I'll be reviewing the Rowkin Bit Stereo headset. So with the new urges of wireless headsets, as you've seen iPhone's new version not including a headphone jack, we've seen a lot of different little head pieces that are becoming more and more wireless, meaning no actual wire is involved. Now we've seen also the counter headset where it lays on your shoulders, and of course a lot of mock-offs on those, but in those cases they still have a wire hanging from your shoulder harness to your ears. In this case, we've got these pure wireless headsets, the Rowkin, that we're going to go through. So this is the box, and inside we'll find our little guy. Very slick and tiny. Now the actual device is a 4-piece set, 3 visible at the moment. So this being the base, this harnesses both of our headsets. The headsets themselves are extremely small and very prone to being lost. In that situation, it's always nice to have somewhere to keep them nice and safe. One of the cool things right off the bat that you will see is that these are magnetic, and it makes really nice little clicks every time you put them together. The cool thing is, I love magnets, and this includes both pieces that I love most, music and magnets. Now, when you go into the details of the portability, we have a few things to consider. They are, of course, very small, obviously taken. Very sturdy. They are very metallic and very, very solid little pieces. I wouldn't say a drop or many drops will break them, but maybe you would lose them first before you break them. So that's one of the other worries you want to consider. Always use your base when you're not using them, and always keep them intact. So as far as these two separate, they connect through a Bluetooth 4.1 channel. The new channel includes a new, more smart way of distributing power to the Bluetooth device, meaning that when you take a device, let's say yay far, it can calculate how much distance, let's say from my headset to my phone. It can calculate the general distance between the two devices, and the phone can change its power output and as well as the headset on its input. Now as far as connectivity, these headsets are pretty cool. Again, they are separate pieces, and what happens is they can connect together and create a left and right channel when they actually as well tell you which headpiece will play which channel role. Now the main one is normally the left channel if you are doing a stereo paired set of headsets, meaning you can connect one device to these two and they will work as a dual stereo channel for your sounds. Now you can also do something cool. Each one of these does come with its own independent brain, meaning that you can connect these two independently to two different devices and being able to control them both separately, using potentially both of their vocal assistants. The cool thing in that case is you're able to multitask much more efficiently. If you're always on the go and you're expecting things, and maybe you have 2 lines you're working with, 2 different phones, now you've got them connected directly. It is going to be very confusing considering they don't really distinguishingly look different or feel different, other than, and there's no indicator that tells you continuously which channel's which. It just tells you once, and then you're on your own. But it is a cool idea to have the flexibility of each individual piece. Now they do also sell these on the website as individual pieces for $59. That is the current price. It may change always in the future. Now as this both set duo works, again the connectivity works on the 4.1 Bluetooth. One of the things that I didn't really understand, didn't really like, and I saw the functionality of it. The 4.1 channel lets the device judge the distance between the phone and the headset and specify power usage to both devices so you can have a much more efficient system. That makes perfect sense. One of the things I've experienced, and maybe it could be either between the 4.1 Bluetooth feature, or it could also be simply the interference of external forces, but the connections on these are, well, they're good and they are functional. They're very well, but they do disconnect in certain situations. Meaning, here in my room, I have plenty of technology, plenty of wireless devices. God knows my brain is probably fried by now. But the idea is when I'm in here, I can have my phone and my headset in my lap and in my ear. I still get a weird cutoff, especially if something around me happens. Maybe a wireless. I think I was pinging a computer to see if it was functioning correctly, and every time I pinged, it disconnected my headset. That was almost coincidental. I wouldn't even use that as an actual valid statistic, but it does happen often enough. Now, I can understand when I'm moving away from my phone, and it's already judged the distance between the phone and my ear and created its own specific power usage. And then when I move it away from that distance, it may hiccup for a second but reconnects, which is cool. But when it comes to my headset in my ear and my phone in my lap, and I still get this weird interference, maybe I should figure out the pollution of frequencies in my ear. But the matter of fact is, it's still a weird experience to have. So I don't really use it inside. I use it on the go very often, simply because of this interference. So as far as the sound quality, it is good for its size. It works between the 20 hertz and the 20,000 hertz or 20 kilohertz level, which is a good range, and especially for its size, does do a good set of low frequencies. Now, of course, you're not going to expect anything lower than 20. There's very, very seldom cases with headsets that are small that actually function anywhere lower than 20, maybe even 10, but it's a really poorly emulated process. This is because in turn that headsets and speakers of any kind have a limitation based on their physical size. You got to consider the size of the speaker itself will give it its range, and if this speaker, of course, headset level, you're not expecting dubstep level subwoofer in your ear, which would probably not be good for you anyway. But as far as the microphone as well, it is a good feature to it. The microphone is on each one of these on the back, meaning that again it can be sufficient to use separate on each device, even including phone calls. The sound is good. The environment does affect the actual quality and interference in between. Since the hole itself is in the back of your head and your mouth is in the front of your head, logic entails there may be some issues in particular, but not very often, and especially if you're in a quiet and open environment. Even if it's cars or some sort of street traffic, you can still hear really well through them. As far as the last few details to give about this Rowkin Bit Stereo, the battery functionality, it is really, really nice. I like the ability to portably charge my device as I'm going. I also am very active in my professional world and many errands to run on a daily basis. This gives me the ability to at least have one in my ear at all times, being able to respond to any messages or calls, while the other one sits tight and charges. And then when one dies, I can swap them, and so on and so on, which is really nice and very functional for a continuous process where I can always have something connected to me. The buds themselves have a actual capacitance of 55 milliamps, and for this device particular, it ranges between the 3 to 4 hour, depending on volume and depending on duration of usage over time, but about 3 to 4 consistent hours of music, let's say. Now the base itself is 140 milliamps, meaning that it can charge each one another extra charge for a total of 8 to 10 extra hours on the go, which is good, giving you even more flexibility if you're not near a charger. Now, one of the cool little tricks about this and kind of crippling effect of its design, it's magnetic, and here is where the 4 pieces come into play. The magnetized bit here reveals a charger where you can actually plug in your micro USB cable, charge it up for a good hour or two in your set, but it also is flippable, and you can encase the other side so you don't lose your pieces. Of course, pieces fall apart, you don't want them to be lost anywhere. But one of the bad things about this is you can, bad and good, you can charge simultaneously while keeping them both intact, one underneath the other, but the one on the outside will not charge. So it's just basically sitting there. Doesn't work in the sense that the inside still charges when you're plugged in and it continuously goes, but it does give you a crippling effect of a single, so you might as well just be using it. Why not? And that concludes the review of the Rowkin Bit Stereo. I hope you enjoyed it. Check it out on their website, rowkin.com. They've got 2 specials going on right now. One is a single bud for $59, and there's a dual bud, this exact one, that you see, or other ones as well, for over 100. Definitely recommended if you are in a busy situation and you want to experience that really nice wireless feel. One of the cool things I didn't mention yet is when I'm dancing or doing any form of movements with my head, rocking out some, metal here and there. This stays in. This is very secure in the ear, as you can tell. It actually sits on the inside and gives it a nice harness. Natural harness, very ergonomic. That concludes our review. Thanks for watching, guys, and keep up with the next review. It's going to be the Cherry keyboard with the MX Blue switch.